get our 400-plus guys out there ready to go.
Yeah.
Somebody call Ron.
And okay, we're live on the YouTubes. Hey, YouTube.
Tubers.
Hey, YouTube. All right, so we are live here, Mosh, on YouTube. Now and it takes a second, to get the YouTube feed going before we officially kick off Raiders Fan Radio.
Okay.
And so what do we do normally when we kick it off is what?
Well, we talk about Ron putting down his hedge clippers and running in.
Ron's getting the notification, right? And wait for Ron to come off the Bass Lake or put it, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Okay.
I hope he's not on the tractor.
No, hopefully he's not on the tractor. That's right. So anyways, those of you that join us here on YouTube, thank you so much always for joining in.
Yeah,
we'll give it a minute.
You.
Yeah, we'll give it a second here, and then
you must be telling your friends because we're getting a few more people.
Yeah, we're getting our subscribers go up every week. So I guess we appreciate the word of mouth, and we appreciate the spreading the good word about Raiders Fan Radio. And that's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, we're not like Mikey. We got like 400 and something, and he has like 41,000. So that's a little bit different. But we're proud of our 450. We're strong 450.
It's a strong 450.
Shoot, I'm not recording this. Now I am. Go ahead.
I just want to go on record as saying that it's a good thing I'm not like Mikey. You know? Because I don't have his energy level.
Oh,
and with my heart, I can't do monster drinks.
He is wound up, man.
Man,
he's in a great way. In a great way.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah, he's fun.
He goes and goes.
We have a good time on.
I'll bet you do.
Mondays
Yeah. So Mondays with Mikey and Rick is a fun show.
It is. It's a very fun show. Yeah, absolutely.
You guys do. Yeah, that's good stuff. You do
good
fun
stuff. Good stuff. All right. Well, let's go ahead and Mosh. Let's kick off another episode of Raiders. Wait, where's the thing?
Where's the button?
Where's the button? I got to find the button.
You and the buttons.
I know. I get everything set up, and then we go to hit it, and then I can't ever find anything. It's crazy. Anyways, okay, here we go. It's time to kick it off. Another episode number 91 of Raiders Fan Radio.
Raiders! Turn on a flashlight, flip a light switch, strike a match, just light something on fire. Welcome to Murf's Fan Cave from the Dago Dungeon. Join me, Uncle Mosh, as we join Raiders Fan Radio, taking a lighter journey into the dark side.
Okay, we're back. Look left, look right, Balaknikov, a leaking pass, touchdown!
We miss you, we love you, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
Intercepted by Khalil Mack. Touchdown! Raiders!
The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. Well, I love this team. I think this team can win.
What is up, Raider Nation? Thank you for joining us here in Murf's Fan Cave once again for another fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio. This is your old buddy Murf here to walk our way through another day through the beloved Raider Nation. And so we thank you for joining us here on the show. Appreciate you checking us out for episode number 91. Every week that we do this, I'm just surprised at the number that we've gotten to, and thankful for it as we go through another episode here. So, but I can't do it alone. Podcast selfies are no fun. And I would, and so thankful to share another episode of Raiders Fan Radio with my Uncle Mosh. Welcome, Uncle Mosh.
Hey, what's going on, Murf?
So Ron is officially here. He said we can light this candle.
Well, thanks, Ron. Appreciate you tuning in.
Absolutely,
Appreciate
Ron's in there, Bear's in there. So we got we do our show live on YouTube, and so you can anytime, usually on Sunday afternoons, as we get into the season, our show will be moved to Wednesday nights because Sundays afternoons is going to be for football. So we'll all be watching football. So, but as of right now, you can check us out live on YouTube on Sunday afternoons, and then as the season gets started, then you can look for us on Wednesday nights, and you can see a couple of faces made for radio, and just us sitting around here doing our show, Raiders Fan Radio, here in Murf's Fan Cave, Uncle Mosh.
Wow, the Dago Dungeon South, otherwise known as Murf's Fan Cave.
Hey, all right. A couple of AM voices bringing you some Raider coverage. That's right.
Excited about it here today. How about it, Murph? Back to you.
Thanks, Uncle Mosh. Bear in the chat, Uncle Mosh says that he still remembers the story you told about the guy with hemorrhoids putting the maxi pad on the wrong side.
Oh my gosh!
We won't get into the gory details about that one, but yes,
that's one of my all-time favorite stories.
That's pretty funny.
And the best part, because I'm a teacher by trade.
Yeah.
And so I tell stories in class all the time, and I'm always telling them, do this or do that, and I teach theater arts, and so one of the things that we do is we learn to laugh at ourselves, so
Sure.
I do this whole unit on life's most embarrassing moments, and a lot of the stuff that I tell, they say to me, did that really happen? And I'm like, yeah, because you can't make stuff up. Of course, I don't tell that story in class because I want to work.
You don't want to end up on a registry somewhere or anything.
Yeah. But I got enough stuff where I've screwed up that I can say, hey, that really did happen.
Oh, that's too funny. But anyways, thank you again for those of you that are joining us live. And so anytime you can check us out there. And then outside of that, you can always check out our show at all the wonderful outlets, wherever you can find a podcast. And we'll get to that here in just a second as we get to the contact info. But first, we want to talk about the rundown, which you can find here on Raiders Fan Radio. So today, Uncle Mosh, we're going to honor a player with the number, because today is number 91 of Raiders Fan Radio, episode 90. What?
It's 91.
Yeah.
That's backwards for 19.
Yes, 1991 front and backwards is a palindrome, is it not?
And what else is a palindrome?
I got the date today, isn't it?
Yes.
So actually, okay, so here's something fun, Raider Nation. So we love numbers around here. Which is why we do that first segment, which we'll get to in a second. But so a palindrome, so same thing front as backwards. Well, the date today is 8/19/18, and then backwards it's 8/19/18. So the whole week from 8/11 to 8/19 is the same back and forth. So it's a palindrome week.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun.
We love numbers.
We love numbers.
Yeah.
We love numbers.
We don't always know how they work because right now I got a headache.
I got a headache too. We don't do math. We do numbers, but we don't do math.
Yeah.
All right. So palindrome week. You got me all messed up. So number 91.
Just going by your script, bro.
Episode number 91, right here on Raiders Fan Radio. So we always honor a player, and we're going to honor definitely a player that formerly wore number 91.
Absolutely.
Then we're going to get into our 4-minute offense, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite segments here on Raiders Fan Radio. We're going to do our 4-minute offense. Then we're going to get to some Khalil Mack discussion. We'll keep it, appropriate for the time. It's covered ad nauseum.
Oh my
right.
gosh.
So, but we'll hit on a couple of things about it. We're on a couple of new-ish things. One of the guys in the chat says he just learned something. Uncle Mosh, you are a teacher indeed.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about Khalil Mack. Then we're gonna dig into the Raiders and Rams game. That's really gonna be the meat of the show today. We have some fun audio to cover from that, not only from the game, but from the sideline and some additional stuff. Then we're going to feature some of our listener feedback. You can call the show at any time at 909-345-3346. You can leave us a message, and if we play your message 3 times, you become a made man here on Raiders Fan Radio. And we have a new caller to the show this week, and then we have one of our made men that we're going to feature two voice messages. So that'll be fun. And then we are going to wrap up the return to excellence. All summer when we were struggling for content, I found this audio CD that my dad had gotten for me at a giveaway at a radio thing a long, long time ago. And basically this audio CD was a documentary of the Raiders' year 2000 season, which was the return to excellence. That was when we won the division for the first time in a long time, ended up running off 3 straight division titles after that 2000 season. But anyways, it's this audio documentary that was put together by The Ticket 1050, which is the radio station that used to be the flagship station for the Raiders. And it's hosted by Greg Pop and whatnot. And we, through the summer, we're featuring 1 week per show. Well, we quickly ran into the regular season, or at least the start of the season, and ran out of time. And so the past couple shows, we hadn't been featuring them because we've had so many other things to go over. So I just want to kind of wrap that up. So we'll play the last episode of that. Then we'll play the last segment of that, which is the wrap up. It's fantastic. It's Greg Papa. It's John Gruden. It's really, really good. So we're going to wrap that up with wrap up the return to excellence. And then last but not least, we have an interview this week, Uncle Mosh, with Pastor Mondo Leone. Pastor Mondo is the pastor to the Raider Nation. He is a longtime, of course, a lifetime Raiders fan and a longtime minister to Raider Nation. And so don't get freaked out, Raider Nation. We're going to talk a little bit about Jesus here at the end of the show. And it's cool stuff, man. It's Pastor Mondo is a great man of faith, and he's got a great story. He's funny. He's great. Lighthearted. It's great messaging one way or the other. And so we encourage you to definitely to check that out and listen to Pastor Mondo and reach out to the different things that he's got going on out there.
And he's been on before and got great ratings.
Yeah.
You know,
we actually called it Raiders Faith Radio. We actually changed the name of the show for that episode because it was so good. And, you know, Mosh, look at, for those of you on the YouTube, I'm wearing a shirt today, Faith, Family, and Oakland Football, man. Yeah, and that's what it's all about. It's like, okay, like we got a pastor to the Raider Nation on the show today. So check off Faith, Family, us. That's right. We're kidding. And we're doing it about the Raiders. Like 1, 2, 3, like, you could pretty much wrap me up in a nutshell with those 3 things. Like I'll choose all day long to identify with those 3.
There you go.
So yeah, Faith, Family, and Oakland Raiders football. Good stuff. So anyways, appreciate you guys joining us here once again for episode number 91. And Uncle Mosh, unless you got anything else, we'll go ahead and get this thing kicked off.
I say we do this.
This is Andrew DePaula, long snapper with the Oakland Raiders. You're listening to Murf with Raiders Fan Radio. Just win, baby.
There's Andrew DePaulo. Nice to hear from him. Of course, current long snapper of the Oakland Raiders. But first, Uncle Mosh, we got to put our contact information. So let me go and get that out there for everybody.
All right, boys and girls, pay attention. You got your old Uncle Mosh here with an update. That's right. I got some stuff for you. Take out a piece of paper, a pencil, a pen. Heck, use your pocket knife and carve the info into your dashboard as you're driving down the highway. First off, you need to like us on our fan page on Facebook. That's right. Go to Facebook at Raiders Fan Radio Podcast. Don't forget about the Twitter. You know your old Uncle Mosh, he twits now. That's right. Go to at Raiders Fan Radio. Also, don't forget the Instagram at Raiders Fan Radio. Or what about our website? That's right, RaidersFanRadio.com. Heck, if you want to, you can even email us, show at RaidersFanRadio.com, or call us on the Raiders Fan Radio hotline, 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Don't forget Murf's Fan Cave on the YouTube, where you can get all the show links like the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz. Find all our stuff on podcast providers like Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. All right, did I hit the time limit? Good.
All right, Uncle Mosh, thank you for sharing that with us on how you can get in touch with us here at Raiders Fan Radio. And please do so. You can just email us, whoops. Whoa, how about that? I just blew up my microphone. You can email us, Murfs, at, oh my gosh, what a disaster.
You can email us, you can tweet us, you can Instagram us, you can Facebook us.
There we go.
Murf's fixing stuff over there.
Just knocked
you can send us manuals on how to rebuild his microphone because he just crashed it.
I just knocked it.
Are you all right? You put that mic right in your eye. Murf's the only guy I've ever seen have to wear safety goggles to do a podcast.
Full Contact, man. Full Contact podcast. Do you remember the one time, speaking of one time, Uncle Mosh and I, we were at a casino, and this was back when we still used to partake. And one time we had partaken, we were overserved. I'm pretty sure we were overserved.
Absolutely.
Is what happened. And we were playing slot machines, and we decided to invent full contact slot machines. And this was back in the old days when you had buckets of quarters, and we were trying to knock each other's buckets of quarters out of our hand and knock each other off our stools. Remember that?
It started out, we were sitting there with all those blue-haired old women, right? And by the time we were done, there was nobody but security officers around us. And it wouldn't have been so bad. You know, people get drunk in the casino, right?
Yeah.
But it was 7:30 in the morning.
Oh, man. So anyways, so thank you for whatever. What was it? I'm lost.
You're going to talk about number 91.
Yeah, because I broke my microphone and stabbed myself in the eye.
I covered for you. Not well, but I covered.
Thank you, Mosh. You did a great job. All right, so number 91 here on Raiders Fan Radio. We're going to go with defensive tackle. We're going to go with Chester McLaughlin, you know, and Bear got it right in the chat. Good guess, Bear. You know, a couple other players, you know, currently Shalik Calhoun wears number 91. You know, you could go Justin Tuck. You know, he was kind of one of the first, I don't want to call him high-profile free agents because he was certainly on the downside of his career, but it was definitely a big name that Reggie McKenzie brought in early in Reggie McKenzie's tenure as a general manager. But we're going to go with the big man, Chester McLaughlin. Sadly lost him in 2011 prematurely at only age 42. Kind of sad story there. But in terms of his playing career and with the Raiders, played 6 years with the team, 4 Pro Bowls. You know, Mosh, the guy had 51 sacks in his career, and a majority of those came with his time with the Raiders. He was the number 16th overall draft pick in the 1992 NFL draft out of Clemson, and really just kind of, you know, really epitomized what that Raiders defense was during those, you know, and those were some kind of lean years in there. You know, we had some good success there with Art Shell, but really it wasn't until John Gruden came around in what was it, 98, 99, when he came around, that we finally started returning to that excellence with any kind of consistency. So and by that time Chester left. You know, he went on and played with Kansas City, Denver, and then I think with the year with the Jets there before he finished out his year. But yeah, so we definitely want to pay respects to the big man, number 91, here on Raiders Fan Radio.
Yeah, what an amazing player. Our first full year, 16 games, had 79 combined tackles. That's crazy, man. You know, 7 sacks. I mean, he was menacing.
That's a lot. That's 79 tackles for an interior lineman is a lot of tackles.
Yeah. That was his best year ever. I mean, what a stud.
Yeah, and nine and a half sacks in 1994. That was pretty cool. You know, so yeah, definitely a dominant player. And so here's something fun. Now, I mentioned he was a 16th overall draft pick, Mosh.
Right.
You know who else was 16th overall draft pick?
Tell me.
Well, if you go and look between 1980 and 2013, there is a handful of guys that were drafted number 16 overall.
Okay.
2 of them, in addition to Chester McLaughlin. Okay, well, let me back up. Chester McLaughlin drafted number 16.
Right.
Also, 2 of the guys that were drafted number 16 overall have been on our show.
No way.
Yes, sir. E.J. Manuel in 2013,
right,
drafted 16th overall by the Buffalo Bills, has been on Raiders Fan Radio.
Sweet.
And also Pete Koch. Our buddy Pete Koch, drafted 16th overall in 1984, and he has also joined us twice.
Yeah, multiple appearances.
Absolutely, has joined us twice here on Raiders Fan Radio. So pretty cool. Now, there is a couple other notables on there.
Chester.
Well, yeah, Chester, of course. And then, do you want to tell him the other one?
Here's the thing.
That's when you know something's coming, when you set it up like that. Go ahead.
There's, Chester, like you said, we unfortunately lost him a few years back, and so we could talk about his memory on here and pay our respects that way. But this other guy will never be on our show.
Like not even invited at all.
No, here's the thing. Tom Hanks will be on our show before this guy's ever on our show.
And we know, hey, look, and Tom Hanks is a sore subject around here.
Tom Hanks, yeah.
Who's the other guy, Mosh?
Jerry. I always wanted to be a Raider, but was scared to cross the Bay Bridge. Rice.
Jerry Rice, man. drafted number 16th overall in 1985, the year after Pete Koch. Yeah, absolutely. So
crazy.
Anyway, so pretty fun connections there. Fun Raiders fan radio connections, along with, of course, being linked back to the NFL draft there. So we'd like to definitely pay our respects to Mr. Chester McLaughlin. I have trouble pronouncing his name.
Don't
Chester
cut that. You need to keep that in.
Yeah, I will, yeah. Also, as Bear mentions, Reagan Upshaw wore number 91. That's a great one as well. And then also, as we mentioned today, that Shalik Calhoun wears number 91. And thankfully, he's on the upswing. Uncle Mosh, he is definitely on the upswing as a member of the Raiders defense.
You know, we just talked about EJ.
Hey, what's up, Raider Nation? This is EJ Manuel. You're listening to Raiders Fan Radio. Super excited to get this season back rolling. Hope you guys are having a great offseason.
Nicely done, Mosh.
Thank you.
Nicely done. All right, so our new segment here on Raiders Fan Radio. I say new. This is now the third time we've done it.
Yeah.
So then it's new-ish. We'll go with new-ish. Segment here on Raiders Fan Radio. We call it the 4-minute offense. So this is where we run down 5 Raiders stories in a 4-minute run. The reason that we landed on this was that we can tend to be a little windy, which is not a bad thing necessarily for an audio podcast. Not necessarily a bad thing, but when you're trying to keep your show under the running time of Dances with Wolves, then it's not a bad idea to put a time limit on yourself. And so we are going to we run this thing here called the 4-minute offense, in which we're going to click off 5 stories in 4 minutes. So we got our Pink Floyd timer here ready to go, Mosh, and I guess I'm going to start us off this week. Is that correct?
You are it. We are ready to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, hit it.
All right, Uncle Mosh. Should John Gruden have played the starters more in L.A.? A lot of the Los Angeles Raiders fans are pissed. They're pissed because they paid full price. They traveled. They went all the way to the L.A. Coliseum to see the Oakland Raiders play, and there was no Marshawn Lynch, no Derek Carr, no Amari Cooper, no Martavis Bryant, no nobody, because they didn't play any of the starters. Should John Gruden have done the fans a solid and played the starters?
Are you kidding me? You go to a preseason game and what do you expect? You expect to see the starters play the whole game? Come on, lighten up, folks. First of all, as a coach, you're going to be playing basically an exhibition game
exactly what
against a team you're going to be playing in 21 days?
Yeah.
You're not going to tip your hand. Come on, peeps. That's all I got on that.
Okay. Next topic is yours. Let's go.
Come on. I'm sorry. Should the Raiders have acknowledged L.A. more? Hello. We moved out of L.A.
Oh, Mosh.
Sorry.
Ooh, Mosh inciting the Los Angeles and Southern California Raider fans. I think you hear what the gist of it is. Should they acknowledge L.A. more? They were wearing kind of the old school Raiders caps on the sidelines, but they still said Oakland Raiders, and I think a lot of people wanted to see something more of a throwback that just at least acknowledged the team being in L.A., where I think they should have. It makes sense that they didn't, and the reason why is that the NFL has a team in Los Angeles. In fact, they got 2 of them, and so they're not going to identify a third and try to steal any of that thunder. They're not going to do it, and frankly, they shouldn't have. All right, so Uncle Mosh, third topic. Can we officially hate on Pharaoh Brown now? It drives me nuts when he's on the TV because he wears number 81 and he's got the name Brown on the back, and now the guy committed 2 holding penalties and a drop pass. Am I okay now to hate on this dude?
No. You can't hate on him because he's a Raider, but you can hate on him for his number choice and his last name.
Change your name, bro.
Yeah.
No, but really, he could be number 82. Come on, man.
Come on, you could be number 82. Here we go. Hey, is the NFL overslinging the flags? I look at it like this. They got to control the game. They're saying, we got to be safety conscious. We got to be all this. So it's kind of like buying a car.
Okay.
You go in and you lowball. It's kind of like selling a car. You ask too much. Okay, wanting to get talked down. It's the same kind of thing. Oversling the flags in the preseason. Maybe the folks will get the idea that we probably shouldn't be doing the things we're doing.
That's not a bad idea. You know, Mosh, that's not a bad take. You know, so the gist of it is that you get people used to this overreaction, and then you give them something that's a little back off of that a little bit as we get into the.
Here we go. We're running out of time.
The regular season. All right, Mosh, last up, Greg Papa now works for the 49ers. We've talked a lot about Greg Papa on our show. He's going to a rival. It sucks that he's going to the Niners. We've kind of heard rumors that he was going to do this before, but the guy's got to work, right?
He's got to work, but come on. You might as well, Papa, please. If roller derby were still functional, you might as well be doing play-by-play for the Bay Bombers.
Oh.
You know, or the San Jose Bees, for crying out loud.
Oh, the San Jose Bees.
Yeah, San Jose
nice
Bees, yeah. Sports Illustrated called them the weirdest team ever. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that. Come on, Papa. Don't get out of football.
Oh, jeez, Mosh, bringing
Uncle
the
Mosh
heat.
is getting wound up today.
You are.
I've been listening to Mikey too much.
Hey, well, look, I think we finished early for the first time.
Did we really?
Yeah, because it's just starting to wind up
darn
now.
close.
Yeah.
We got about 3.
There it is. All right.
Hey, no. All kidding aside, I was trying to play the devil's advocate here.
What? Now you got to take your take back?
No, I'm not taking my take back.
Okay,
I
don't
want
take
to
your
talk about the whole idea that on LA. You
Okay.
know,
All right. Walk it back.
I loved the Raiders. They've always been my team, even
Right.
when they were in LA.
It was tough on us, being Bay Area guys.
It was tough
when
on
they
us.
left the first time.
But-
It was not easy.
But my problem is that the first World Series I ever went to was against the Dodgers.
That's the
You know,
Yes.
I hate the Lakers. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. You know, the Bay Area faithful will know what I'm talking about, man. When it's like we're two separate states.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I just can't warm up to, you know, oh, poor LA. You know?
Oh, I got you.
You know
I
what
got
I'm
you.
saying?
Yeah.
And it's the fact that we share our love for the Raiders is the only thing that really brings North and Southern California together. You know? I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, think about it.
Yeah.
There's animosity there.
Yeah.
You know, there's not a lot.
One time I had a buddy of mine that was a Dodgers fan, and he told me, we were talking about the Giants-Dodgers rivalry.
Right.
And he said, you know, the difference is that you guys hate us and we don't know you exist.
Oh.
I know. Huh?
Oh, okay. So you remember the time I met Tommy Lasorda?
Yeah.
Right.
Heck yeah.
Tommy Lasorda came to the high school I taught at, and
Yeah.
he was scouting some of our
Yeah,
kids, right?
yeah.
So I was doing play-by-play for the baseball team, and Tommy comes up and he's, you know, he says, hey, you know, he was giving me a few kudos, you know, because he was smooching with everybody, and I'm just like, hey, Mr. Lasorda, you know, it's an honor to meet you. I said, I got to tell you, I grew up hating you, man. You know, I grew up hating you. And so he's shaking my hand, and we're taking pictures for the yearbook, and he reaches over, and I'm a big guy, and he reaches over and he pats my belly, and he goes, son, I was an asshole once. You know, and he was as gracious as ever, and it was really cool, you know. But it's you know, Mr. Dodger, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But so you're right, and it's something that, you know, we as Bay Area Raider fan or Bay Area sports fans, so A's, you know, Raiders, Warriors, you know, we were programmed to not like those teams.
Yes,
like it was so when the Raiders left that first time, it wasn't like oh yay, they're staying in California. It was like, oh no, they're going to LA. It was not a happy thing. Now, again, in retrospect, we have a lot of love. We have a lot of listeners. So, I mean, in Southern California,
oh, gosh,
we love
the bulk of our listeners.
We love Southern California Raider fan. But just understand, though, that as Bay Area Raider fan, when this first happened, it was not like a thing. And in fact, of course, and again, we all supported the team, but it was almost like there was a time where we started finding other things to root for, not necessarily other teams to root for, but maybe other players that you might like to watch. But it was just like our fandom almost had to diversify a little bit just in order to like mellow the sting a little bit, because it was such a big deal when they left, you know? So anyway, so thankfully they're back. And now we can all be unified and that they're moving to Vegas. Now we're all in the same boat. So there you go.
Speaking of LA Raiders.
Okay.
Hey, this is Pete Koch, former Los Angeles Raiders. Yeah, back in the old days, baby. And you're listening to Murf and Uncle Mosh, who happens to have the same hair as me. Check it out, Raiders Fan Radio.
Very cool. Very cool. Good friend of the show, Pete Koch, number 16 overall in the 1984 NFL draft. Man, played on some – you want to talk about some teams in Los Angeles, some Raiders teams? That 1989 team that Pete played on got some serious Hall of Famers on that team. All right, so Uncle Mosh, let's go ahead and let's get into some of the current Raiders. We're going to talk about the Khalil Mack deal. You know, there's a lot of rumor. There's a lot of speculation. We're not a breaking news show, so you can find all the news you want out there as far as what's going on with the Mack situation. I would encourage you as a fan, don't listen to the hype. Don't buy into the mainstream media single, point of focus in terms of reporting this story. There are a lot of moving parts. Number one, the Raiders aren't broke. Don't buy that garbage that, they can't pay them. They'll pay him just fine. The NFL team has never defaulted on a contract, not in the modern-day history of the league. The Raiders will have plenty of money. It's not that. There are just so many other moving parts in place, including Aaron Donald, speaking of the Rams.
Right.
Khalil Mack's production, the idea that the Raiders can keep him under contract for 3 more years, or at least via the franchise tag in the one last year on this deal. So there's a lot of things out there that are true. So look at all that stuff. Don't just buy into one storyline on it. But that said, John Gruden, our head coach, was asked about it this week. He was on Sirius NFL, and he was asked a direct question, and I thought he fielded it pretty fairly. So
Very well.
I want to throw it out there to you all.
Off note, I got to ask you about Khalil, just so I can get your thoughts at this point. And I'll say I'll tell this to the listeners when we get on the show later too. You can move that roster around. You've got some flexible guys. I wrote them down too that I really just look at them and go, Bruce Irvin can play end or backer. Mario can play inside or outside. You can shuffle this deck to keep going if you have to.
Well, Mack's the best player, I think, coming off the edge in football. That's our opinion. And we're determined to find a way to get him in here and get him a contract and get on with life. Mm-hmm. He's a really important person, too. He's a great guy. This is a negotiation. Joel Siegel's the agent. They've got their plan. Reggie McKenzie and the people that are negotiating a contract, our end have a plan. I'm coaching the team. And at this time, he's not here. We got to focus on what we can control, and that's just working.
He's a great guy, is his quote. I'm coaching the team. Those guys are doing it. People, the Gruden haters on this have got to lighten up on Coach, man.
He's got I don't want to say he's got very little to do with the Mack contract, but he's got a lot less to do with it than people are giving him credit for.
Absolutely, yeah. That's not what he was brought in to do. He was brought in to do what? Coach the team. The Gruden haters have got to back off of that.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely, Mosh. And so, that's his focus. And now he mentioned a couple of things there, that it's Reggie McKenzie. Reggie McKenzie is a brilliant – okay, we are awful numbers men. You and I don't do math. Reggie McKenzie could do circles around us with one eye closed. I mean, he is a numbers guy. He is, one of the reasons that Mark Davis brought in Reggie McKenzie after consulting with Madden and all kinds of other historic Raiders, one of the reasons that he brought him in was because of that, because Mark Davis understood he had a limited amount of, I don't want to say talent, he had a limited amount of knowledge of how those things work.
Expertise.
Expertise, thank you. That's what Al did so great.
Exactly.
Al was amazing at that, okay? Al knew how to manipulate the cap and structure contract, not always for the best.
But it was a different era then, too. And Al was a product of that era.
That's true, too.
And he could do it.
That's true, too. So Mark brought in Reggie to be that guy. Well, Gruden may have a lot of personnel influence, and obviously he's the coach of the team. But in terms of contracts and in terms of structuring payments and revenue allocation and all that, that's freaking Reggie. John Gruden has nothing to do with any of that stuff. And so I was glad to hear him not only, one, acknowledge that, but two, it's Joel Siegel, the agent for the Raiders, is getting very little run on this topic at all. But he's going to get it here on our show. We're going to talk a little bit about Joel Siegel. Now, Mosh, Joel Siegel, Khalil Mack's agent, has been responsible for some of the largest contract extensions in the history of the league. Has he not?
Yes, he has. And, it's amazing because Siegel does what he does, and he does it well. And Mack was smart to get signed with this guy. Mack's no stupid, you know?
No, another smart guy.
Very smart guy. In addition to being what Coach Gruden called the best player at that position in the NFL.
Yes.
Come on.
Yes.
He did the right thing by getting Siegel, you know? And hit me with some of those. I know you got them written down. I can't see them.
That's okay. All right. So here's what Joel Siegel has done in his time with the league. And this is by no means a comprehensive list, but this is just a few instances, Raider Nation. Okay, so look, he is, as Uncle Mosh said, he's known for being a shrewd negotiator. His reputation around the league is that he's not particularly difficult to deal with, but he's pretty savvy as far as getting what he wants. And the thing,
he knows his product.
He knows his product. He knows his business. And what he does well is he gets the existing team to provide extensions or new contracts for the player, the team that they're already on. This guy is not known for advising his clients to jump ship. This guy is known for, here's a few examples. Everybody remember Chris Johnson, old CJ2K? Chris Johnson, after a holdout in 2011, signed an extension with the Tennessee Titans for 4 years, $53 million. That's in 2011. This is $53 million over 4 years and $2011 in early September. Sound familiar? Okay. Now, he also, another one that he negotiated was Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson is a Cardinal and is still a Cardinal. As of 2014, the highest paid cornerback in his third year with the team. And I'm going to give you one more. The Rams, speaking of the Rams a bunch today, the Rams, this article states that he grossly overpaid for the Rams grossly overpaid for this player. I think that's a fair assessment. But anyways, Tavon Austin, 4-year extension in 2016, averaging $10 million a year. Uncle Mosh, this is what Joel Siegel does. This is his business. And this situation with Mack is perfectly in line with his history in the league. And those are the facts. The facts are not, the Raiders are broke and Mark Davis can't afford him.
Exactly.
That's not what's going on here.
No, Siegel is a negotiator, not a trader. And I don't mean trader like, Benedict Arnold. I mean trader. He's not out there to look. He's not shopping his client elsewhere.
Bingo.
He's shopping his client with the Raiders, and he's going to do the best he can with what he's got. And what he's got, frankly, he's got a Rolls Royce here, man. He ain't going to sell it at Volkswagen, No offense to Volkswagens, but you know what I'm saying, man.
Yeah, when you're talking about the sticker price on absolutely. Look, Khalil Mack's going to get, we're going to get into it a little bit later, but, all reports are talking, 2022 up to upwards millions of dollars. And that's probably what he's looking at, man. And the Raiders have the room to do it, and this is probably going to get done. It's just going to be a matter of some other things to fall into place first.
Hey, this is Steve Corcoran of RaidersSnakePage.com, and you're listening to Sonny and Murph Raiders Fan Radio. They're the best around.
All right, Uncle Mosh, next up here on the show, we are going to talk about the game. We had a game yesterday, week 2 in the preseason. The Oakland Raiders returned to Los Angeles for the last time. Pretty significant, whether the league acknowledged it or not, or whether the Raiders acknowledged it or not. We as fans, it was a big deal. It was a big deal for them to return.
Nostalgic.
It was nostalgic for them to return to the Los Angeles Coliseum. The home for the Raiders for a long, long time, in between stints in Oakland. And, a couple of things, so we have some fun storylines this year. That's one of them. The last Battle of the Bay ever is going to be this year. So these things are, they're kind of a big deal for us as fans. And so leading up to the game, JT the Brick, who is fantastic, as always, had a nice lead into to the game. And let's go check that out.
The Silver and Black kicked the 2018 preseason off with a win.
Hook to the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Ryan Switzer.
Now it's a Raiders road trip back in time. It's been more than 20 years since the LA Memorial Coliseum has felt the autumn wind.
Get down in the dirt and get nasty.
It's a taste of the real deal as the Monday night matchup between the Raiders and the Rams awaits week 1.
Win on 3, 1, 2, 3.
But remember this fact. Only one franchise owns Super Bowl bragging rights in Los Angeles. And it's always been Raider Nation.
Nice.
That's pretty good stuff. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
It's always been Raider Nation.
It's always been a Raider
You got to
Nation.
love that. That's right. That's right. We got the Super Bowl bragging rights, Uncle Mosh. January 22nd, 1984. The Raiders and Black Sunday derailed the Washington Redskins. But anyway, so in terms of this game, some pretty cool highlights. You know, really all in all, preseason football is not the most exciting thing. You have to go into it with the right mindset. And the mindset is that they're going to be evaluating players. We as fans love the scoreboard and we love all that kind of stuff, but the freaking organization does not care.
No, they don't.
They want to get out healthy, and they want to get out of there with some evaluation, with some game film to be able to determine who they're going to cut this roster down. Because ultimately,
right,
you got to
'cause
go
it's
from
coming, man.
you got to go from 90 to 53, and so
It's
the more
coming. Cuts are coming, baby.
exactly, and so the more you can get. On film, the better. So understand that, Raider Nation. Now, that said, so this was not the most exciting football game to watch, especially the first half, man. It was a little rough. It was a rough watch, man.
It was a
rough watch. So, so just keep that in mind. But there were some fun things that happened. So, you can put me up on the Chris Warren Jr. III
fan
club. I am the president of the fan club. Started last week, and
what a day he had, though, man.
He's awesome.
He is so fun to watch.
So on Mondays with Mikey Murf this week, we do our bold prediction. So
Sure.
my bold prediction this week was that Warren was going to have over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Oh, you were so
just
close.
missed on the second touchdown, and of course, and then Gruden had him try on the 2-point conversion, which they came up short on. But man, he is just fun. I haven't been this excited about a player and I think the reason why is because he came out of nowhere.
Right,
like
right,
when
right.
you draft Amari Cooper in the first round, you draft Khalil Mack in the first round. Like you expect these guys to be who they are. But this guy was undrafted. Tell me that draft process isn't broken, first off. But, so he's undrafted. He comes in and just has another fantastic game. I know it's preseason, Raider Nation. I'm not putting a gold jacket on him, but maybe I am. Like, I mean, the guy's, he's 6'2", 250 pounds. He's just great.
He's a bull.
He's a bull. So we got we're gonna go ahead and feature the touchdown run. We're gonna feature the call here on NFL Network.
Moved to tight end at one point. Chris Warren will walk into the end zone. A touchdown for the Raiders.
Yeah, I have to put this in perspective. In the pregame, me and Schrags are down there looking at all the guys walk by. And then Schrags looks at me and says, is that what you mean that when you say the guys look bigger than ever? But he walked on the field, and I thought it was a defensive lineman. I mean, he's big, broad shoulders. I mean, look at his glutes, hammies, and quads. And he's a powerful runner, shoulders down, facing forward. I mean, it's hard to get an angle on a guy like that.
Chris Warren, the third. Let's not forget about the third here. Remember, his dad was Chris Warren Jr., although he was known simply as Chris Warren. 4 times he had 1,000 yards rushing.
All right, there you go. Chris Warren Jr. the third, which I've totally stolen that line from Dan Patrick,
Right,
but
right.
I don't unabashedly. I'll just give him credit for it every time I say it. But Chris Warren's just a lot of fun to watch, Mosh. He's there's a lot of competition at running back. The consensus is that obviously Marshawn is number 1.
Right.
All right. A lot of folks are thinking that Doug Martin has made the team already, and that's why he's not playing in the preseason. And then kind of going into the season, we knew that there's probably only going to be room for either Jalen Richard or DeAndre Washington. And sure enough, with the emergence of Chris Warren, one of those guys are probably not going to be around, and that's only if the Raiders carry 4 running backs to begin with, because don't forget, we got Keith Smith on this team too. So it's a real crowded room, and it's going to be real tight to see who ultimately makes the final 53. But I think that it's got to be Chris Warren, and then the way Jalen Richard is catching the ball out of the backfield, like,
oh my gosh,
he was awesome, man.
These are awful. Yeah, I mean, imagine having these problems.
I know, right? Yeah, like what a great problem.
Yeah.
So I think Washington, he's a real. I just love the way he runs. The way that he explodes the line of scrimmage reminds me a lot of what Justin Fargas used to do. Just that initial, that bang, that burst. But he's 5'9". You know what I mean? Like he's just not. And gosh, and I hate it for him because he's a great player, but he's had some fumble issues and whatnot. there's too many similarities between him and Rashard, and with Rashard's hands and being able to catch the ball out of the backfield, maybe a little bit more speed to him top end, I think he's going to be the guy. And then again, the better Warren does, the more and more, I mean, we'll find out here real soon, but I think that ultimately Washington's going to be the guy on the outside looking in, and frankly could be Rashard too. I mean, you know, could we have Marshawn, Doug Martin, and Chris Warren Jr. the third be our 3 back? I mean,
my word.
You know, I mean, and hey, and that's a lot of power too. That's just and that's what Gruden
crazy.
loves.
Yeah.
That's what he loves. He loves the big, strong power back. So anyway, so pretty cool stuff there. But hey, believe it or not, Mosh, he wasn't the only Raider on the field. Who
else was there?
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of them. So the secondary, much maligned at times this year, and especially our starting corner, Gary Conley, finally suited up. Had by all accounts a pretty good game, and his counterpart, the other starter on the other side of the field, Rashawn Melvin, was on the other side. No, he wasn't on the other side of the field. He was on the other side of the field, but he was on the sidelines during the game, and the Raiders fan radio microphones were there, and we catch up with Rashawn. You got it ready?
I'm always ready, brother.
And we catch up with Rashawn Melvin.
Great to see you out there with Gary Conley. Talk about your play and your communication with him out on the field.
Man, it's great to see him back out on the football field. You know, he worked extremely hard to get back from injury, and every time he's on the football field, his presence is felt. You know, like I said, we want to come out today and really cone in and communicate and get that feeling of playing with each other out there on the football field.
Tell us about your dream of becoming a Raider.
You know what, man, before 2013 NFL draft, I had one dream, and the dream was playing for the Oakland Raiders. You know, and
so cool.
I took a different route to go to Tampa first, and 6 years later, I'm an Oakland Raider. You know, this tradition here, the staple in the NFL, the Hall of Famers that this organization have had, it's incredible to me. I'm just glad to be a part of it.
One of the legends up in the booth is Matt Millen. Matt?
Yeah, excellent corner play on the outside, particularly early. What I really like what you guys are doing, tight coverage today, but getting your hands on the receivers to me is the biggest key.
Yeah, absolutely. And anytime that you can disrupt the receiver from getting to his route, it gives the line the opportunity to get to the quarterback. You know, it goes hand to hand. And we kind of cone in on that today, is getting hands on these guys and making it tough and letting our pass rush get to the quarterback.
Nicely done, Rashawn. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you.
There he is, Rashawn Melvin. I'm excited for our secondary. You know, Darryl Worley, I think we, absolutely got away with getting him on this team. I mean, I hate that he went through what he went through. You know what I mean? But
exactly.
I'm so glad he's a Raider. Like, you know what I mean? And so, with Conley now finally being healthy, it's, we've struggled with secondary, Mosh, really from the day Reggie McKenzie got here. I mean, Carlos Rogers and Terrell Brown and Ron Bartell and you remember all these guys that we've brought in, man.
We try to remember them.
Yeah, and of course the DJ Hayden pick, and we've been through a lot with our secondary and have still never really settled on guys. It's funny, as many great things as McKenzie has done, corners and inside linebackers, it just seems like we're always in play there with that. So pretty interesting, but definitely glad that it's starting to come together. Someone in the chat talking about Nick Nelson. Nick Nelson played pretty well. He got beat on that one deep ball, but he had good coverage, I thought. He did. I forget what the wide receiver's name was, but just kind of made a great play to maneuver to the ball, right?
He did, yeah. He showed his speed a little bit there too.
Yes, yes, absolutely. So Nick Nelson, what was he, like a fifth round pick, something like that? So semi-late round pick, and so that was pretty good. Q-Dog is in the chat room, Uncle Mosh, and Q-Dog is...
Q-Dog, shout out to the Q-Dog.
And you know who he's talking about?
Me.
Well, besides you, but who else? His favorite player is? Reggie Nelson.
Reggie Nelson.
What's interesting is that, seeing Nelson out there with Carl Joseph, it looks to be like that might be our starting two safeties. So pretty interesting. Of course, we root for Obi Melifonwu around here just because he's been on the show.
Right.
And he's, an athletic freak, and we just want to see him be what we think he can be and cover those tight ends. So hopefully we'll see Obi soon. But
you mentioned, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry
Please
about that.
do.
But when we talking about Q-Dog, we need a Q-Dog hit list.
We need a hit list. That's right. Yeah.
Now that he's on the chat room.
And you know what?
It's been a bit.
With all these cuts that are coming up, Q-Dog, absolutely. Give us a call. You know the number. Call us on the Raiders Fan Radio hotline and let us know the hit list. Yeah, that's a good call, Uncle Mosh. Absolutely. All right, Uncle Mosh. So also on the day, so that Chris Warren had that touchdown, but then also Griff Whalen. We had a Griff Whalen sighting in the game. Griff Whalen had a nice touchdown catch. At the goal line, we talked. Was it last? This is episode number 91. So 2 episodes ago, when we did episode number 89, we talked about the phenomenal catch that that Ronald Curry made in the back of the end zone against Denver, where he reached behind him.
Yeah,
it was
with
a bad
the one
pass.
hand,
All right. Not quite the same thing, but
pretty darn close.
But everything minus the elevation, right? He didn't have to jump for it. He had to turn, ball thrown behind him, snags it out of the air with one hand, and so pretty cool catch there for Griff Whalen. And let's go ahead and hear that call live.
2nd and 7, nice catch. Griff Whalen brought it in behind him, and that is a Raider touchdown. And an extra point away from tying this game at 16.
I like that one catch.
Yeah. Curtis Michael was on him. If Michael was looking for the ball,
could have got it out.
Maybe.
All right, Uncle Mosh, so there's the catch. So I'm not going to play that whole thing, but I want you to listen for the initial roar of the crowd, okay? You ready?
Go.
2nd and 7, nice catch. Griff Whalen brought it in behind him, and that is a Raider touchdown.
Okay. So that's it. So kind of muted on TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't get the – all right. This is how awesome Raider Nation is. This is how awesome Southern California Raider Nation is. They showed up, and in that end zone, which effectively is the black hole, right?
Right, exactly.
This is what it sounded like in the black hole. The Raiders Fan Radio microphones were down there, and in the crowd – so you hear that on TV. Here's what it actually sounded like in the crowd. Listen to the difference. Isn't that amazing?
That's crazy. It was a home game.
It was a home game. I know, right? Yeah. Tell me that was a game for Durant. Let's do it one more time. Here's the TV call.
2nd and 7, nice catch. Griff Whalen brought it in behind him, and that is a Raider touchdown.
All right, and here's the actual.
Somebody in the control truck was on the stands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great job. Great job, everybody that was down there, man. That's so cool, man. Love it. Love it. Great job, Raider Nation. All right, so a couple more highlights from the game. Man, speaking of another sighting, we had a James Cowser sighting, Uncle Mosh. James Cowser, not only did the guy have an interception on the day, which was nice because our team needs turnovers. Last year our first interception came from another linebacker, came from Navarro Bowman, laying on his back, and as the ball fell into his belly in the end zone. But Cowser on this play was dropped into coverage. Quarterback, made a low pass, really not the best pass, but Cowser jumped up and snagged it and made a pretty cool pick.
Cowser's a stud.
I'm not.
Whoops. Sorry, go ahead. I mean, walk over there.
That's it.
Okay.
Cowser's a stud.
I'm not. Pick. That's a pick. And we missed the James Cowser interception. Brandon Allen gets intercepted.
At his right receiver, but he didn't account for the guy playing underneath. Cowser just stopped as the crosser went by. You see that intermediate area, that was a curl, simply sitting there waiting for Brandon Allen to throw the ball. If you're going to make this throw, though, you got to get it up and over the top of the defender. He kind of baited him in there. He acted like he was going with the in route and then read the QB's eyes.
Uncle Mosh, James Cowser was the highest rated Raider in terms of Pro Football Focus ratings. He was the highest rated player in that entire game for the Raiders. Can you believe that?
No kidding.
Yeah, no kidding. So pretty cool there. So good for him, man. We need it. We need it.
Sure need it.
You know what I mean?
You've been saying that for 3 years.
Jeez, man, these linebackers.
Oh my gosh,
killing me. So, anyways, and he's played pretty well. He's played pretty well outside of just this last game as well. So good for him. So something fun. I got a tidbit for you, Mosh. I got a tidbit about James Cowser. You ready for this? Okay. I'm going to go completely off the rails on you here. All right. Out of all the things that I'm going to throw at you, what a hidden talent of James Cowser, what would you guess it would be?
He's a cook. He's a chef.
That's pretty good. That's a good guess, right?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
He's he designs draperies.
No, he does not design draperies. I'll give you one more. Guess.
Okay, so Cowser. Let's see, Cowser.
He's from Utah.
Oh, he's a. Well, let's see. Now I lived in Utah.
Oh, yeah, you sure did.
Yeah. No, I don't want to alienate all of the Mormons. Jeez, let me think. So, Cowser, he's a hunter and a fisherman. He's an outdoorsman.
That's a cool guess. All right, the answer to all those Mosh or all those Mosh are no, but those are good guesses.
Okay.
He speaks fluent Mandarin Chinese.
No way.
He did a mission trip. All right.
Oh, nice.
In China,
awesome.
And speaks fluent Chinese. And here is a clip of him hanging out with Derek Carr, trying to teach Derek some Chinese.
Nice.
大家好，我是郭永志，站在我旁边就是我们四分卫 Derek Carr。那我们想问他，他对代表我们突袭的队有什么感受 ？Thanks for coming on. Kind of funny hearing me speak Chinese. What's it like representing the Raiders?
It's awesome. It's really fun to just be a part of an organization that is like worldwide. Everyone knows that emblem, and to play close to home is also really cool.
Awesome. Now, 我们想知道，就是他哥哥也打了四分卫，我们想知道有没有影响你选打四分卫的位置 ？So we know your brother played quarterback just like you. Did that influence you to make this decision to play quarterback, or what led to that?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it definitely pushed me that way. He was able to teach me, and to have someone in the NFL, before me, and show me the way in my own family really helped.
Awesome. Now, we're going to teach you a little bit of Chinese.
Okay.
You can say to the camera, say to the people in China. So it's going to be, I'm the Oakland Raiders quarterback.
Okay.
All right. So the full sentence is 我是突袭者队的四分卫.
All right, let's go. All right.
我是 Nice. 突袭者队的四分卫. 的四分卫. Perfect. Now let's put it together.
Okay.
我是突袭者队的四分卫.
我是突袭者队.
Yep.
四分卫.
Good enough. All right. 我们教他一些中文，那他来教我们一些橄榄球，好不好？
That's amazing.
Isn't that awesome? And he's like good fluent at it, like for real fluent.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
That's it's so funny. It just shows you that the cerebral level of our players.
I know.
Because Chinese is one of the hardest languages to learn. That's
crazy.
amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool
good
stuff.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
cool
awesome.
Stuff. Yeah, pretty cool. So good for him. Glad that he's finding some success on the field. You know what I mean?
Man.
He's been around a while now. Cows, they call him Cows.
Cows
has been around a little bit now, So it's good that he's showing up, man, and making some plays because we certainly need him. All right, so let's go to Coach. We got three clips from Coach after the game. First off, of course, talking about my new best friend. Well, aside from Markel Lee, like it's kind of like Markel Lee, Chris Warren, and me. Like we're all Like well, I'm out here, but
yeah.
He's a good back, isn't he? I mean, he's run for almost 200 yards in 2 weeks. And I know he's not playing against the regulars, but he's not playing with the regulars either. He's a big, powerful back that's taking care of the ball. He's got to get better without the football. That's what it's all about with him. We know he can run. We know he's powerful and fast and elusive, but he's got to get a lot better without the football to be an NFL back.
So, Mosh, interesting there. He says, and I'm glad he said this, not because it makes me right, but just because it kind of reaffirms what my suspicion was about it. I made a comment last week on this show and on Mondays with Mikey and Murf about how there's so much to being a running back in the NFL. One of those big things is pass protection, and that's one of the things that Marshawn is so good at. And we referred to how he kind of tutors, and Marshawn that is, kind of tutors Carr on blitz pickups and identifying coverages and how to do all that. Marshawn is one of the best, so he's got it. So Chris Warren has a good tutor as well. Learning from Marshawn, but that's what Gruden's talking about right there. He says he's got to be much better without the ball. That's what he means.
That's right.
All right, next up, we got we're going to hear the coach talk about playing the same opponent here just another 3 weeks from now.
Well, I've never been in a preseason game like this. This is tough in our first training camp as a football team to have our second, opponent up against the team we open up with. I don't know in the history of the NFL if that's ever happened. I'm not going to sit up here and cry about it because it's the same for them as it is us. But, You know, in our first year of operation here, we didn't want to play our starters. We didn't want them to hear our audibles and hand signals, and I don't think they wanted us to get a feel for them either. So it was a strange week of practice, and it was a strange ball game from that regard.
What do you think about that? Now, it has happened. I saw it somewhere along the way in social media this week, and I should have pulled the stat down. I didn't, so you have to find that on your own. But in terms of it happening, we know it's happened. But I'm with them. Like, you know, it's kind of a funky thing to do, to have guys playing each other 3 weeks later. And we're going to talk a little bit after the next clip about kind of the relationship and what's gone on between the McVays and the Grudens and what that chess match that was going on. But in terms of just flat out scheduling, Mosh, what do you think?
Well, you know, Gruden said like the 9th or the 10th, I can't remember when it was almost a week ago, a little over a week ago. He said that, you know, week 2 in the preseason is when you get to the extended look at your starters. You know, week 3 is the dress rehearsal for the team's top players, and then week 4 you try to keep your players healthy before the regular season. Well, that was all thrown out the window. That was all kiboshed, because just like he said there, we don't want them to see our hand signals. We don't want to tip our. So everything is kind of everything. This is like almost like, you know, new territory here. So it was.
They almost treated it like a scrimmage more than even a preseason. And granted, that's what preseason games are to begin with, but even more so of that, right?
Exactly, more so, and that's, you know, that was part of my rant early on about, you know, the fans can't, during the 4-minute offense when we were talking, is the fans can't get too wound up, because they got to look at it from the perspective of the team. You know, we're going to be playing these guys for real. We don't want to lose to the Rams for real.
Yeah,
You know?
We don't want to lose to. We can lose to them here in week 2 of the preseason.
Yeah.
Don't lose to them in week 1 of the regular season. Gruden's return to Monday Night Football. Gee, like, you don't think he's got that one circled on the calendar,
Seriously.
do you? Okay, all right, so last up, we're going to hear from Gruden on some of the penalties.
Well, the penalties are not going to be accepted here. We had one on 95. We had another one roughing the passer. We'll take a look at the tape. We had a cornerback pick up a receiver and slam him to the turf. We've got to clean up the penalties, and that's what we're going to do.
All right, so he's you know, I mentioned Farrell Brown had the 2 holding calls.
Right.
You know, not the best showing there. He talked about Antonio Hamilton when he slammed the receiver down onto the turf. But just, you know, these are young players, right? They're playing in. We've already talked about it. It's kind of a sloppy game, right? Like you're doing very specific things. You're not getting very broad with the game plan. You're doing very, so, you know, yes, they've got to clean it all up, but we as fans, is that kind of expected? Like you don't expect these guys to come out and be crisp and clean like this completely when you're talking about second, third string guys in week 2 of a preseason game, right?
No, you don't. And he's, like you said, you know, we got to clean it up. We're going to clean it up. But I don't think he didn't sound too wound up about it.
Nah,
you know,
yeah.
we're gonna clean it up. It's messy, it's sloppy. He called out a few numbers, you know, but he didn't belabor it. He didn't assign a ton of fault and that's why we lost. You know, I mean, it was just, hey, it is what it is. It was what it was. We got to move on.
Absolutely. All right, so one last thing's fun about that game that, and really in the upcoming game in week 1. Something unique about this matchup, about, you know, Sean McVay and John Gruden. I'm going to read a little bit from an article here. You know, these guys go back a long ways. Their families go back a long way, and I mean a long, like way further than just John Gruden hiring Sean McVay. Now, during the game, they talked about an instance where McVay was at the combine as a player. Gruden was there evaluating, and, you know, McVay went and sought out Gruden, found out what his hotel room was, and talked to him and said, look, when I'm done with my playing career, I want to be a coach, and blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, so there's that history between those guys, but also going back to their dads.
Mm-hmm.
The McVays and Grudens have a close coaching connection that goes back 47 years when John Gruden's father, Jim, who we actually did an internet black hole one time on, I forget what episode, I'll have to pull that up for you all. But Jim Gruden hired, let's see, who did he hire? He hired John McVay. John McVay into Dayton from 1969 to 1972. Jim's father and Sean's grandfather, who would later become Giants head coach and the Niners general manager. Tim McVay, Sean's father, was recruited to play safety at Indiana by Jim Gruden, who was an assistant there from 73 to 77. It was also the elder Gruden, also at the time when he was a Notre Dame assistant. I'm jumbling this up. Follow with me if you can. He endorsed Joe Montana to the Niners when McVay was there in 1979, and that's where John Gruden got his first NFL job, was with the Niners in 1990 when McVay was there as the president. So you could see, now I mumbled my way through that, but you see, there's because these lines intertwine like crazy with these families. Like these guys got some serious history.
Serious history.
So we talked about how simple it was. We talked about how they didn't play the starters. We talked about all these things about it. Well, the reason why is that they already know each other really freaking well. When John Gruden says we don't want to give away our hand signals, we don't want to he's coming back to coaching for the first time in 10 years. He's got all this stuff. He's got the advantage of being new again. He's not going to show anything. So while we as fans, it may bother us and it sucks we didn't see our starters and they didn't play as well and all these things, John Gruden didn't give a rat's you-know-what about the outcome of this football game. He wanted to get in and get out quiet.
You know why? Think about the Super Bowl. Think about the Super Bowl.
Jeez.
Right?
Yes.
And who gave away everything? He won a Super Bowl because the team that he was playing, he knew what they were going to call.
That's exactly right.
Come on, he's not stupid. Gruden is a lot of things, but he ain't stupid.
He ain't stupid.
Why would he do to someone else what he did to us?
To us.
You know?
Great point, Mosh.
It's the same thing. He's smart.
That's a great, you know what? I hadn't thought of that angle. That absolutely is a great point, Mosh. It's a great point. So yeah, there's a long-standing history between these two families, between these two guys.
I'd be willing to bet there was holidays spent with these two families.
Probably.
I'm sure.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Probably vacations or something. Yeah, absolutely. They're families or friends. One last thing. Okay, one last thing about this, and then we'll move on from the game. And I know there's a lot of other stuff to talk about, and there's a lot of players to talk about, and I wish we could. But we'd be here for 4 hours if we went over every single aspect of it. But we know Markel Lee played really well. Like there's a lot of other things as well. And we'll get to that more of the game tomorrow on Mondays with Mikey and Murph. So check us out. That'll be back here on Murph's Fan Cave.
Watch the highlights though, because when EJ Manuel made that tackle, that made me so happy.
That was pretty awesome. Our guy EJ Manuel, right? And see, here's something else we didn't even talk about. The offensive line was trash yesterday.
Yeah.
And look, John Feliciano was looking for somebody to block on I don't know how many plays. He was way out of position. The first snap of the game, he fires it over Connor Cook's head. Brandon Parker did not look good. We had a lot of guys that struggled yesterday on the O-line, and who paid for it? Our quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Fumbling the football, like you said. EJ fumbling the football, kicked the football, but thankfully he made a hustle play and actually went and made the tackle.
Stud and he's been on our show.
He went and made the tackle, but I mean, so there's a lot to talk about out there about and we'll get to more of that tomorrow. But as far as here on Raiders Fan Radio, we're going to cover one more thing on it. Interesting play. John Kelly, running back for the Rams from the University of Tennessee. What's the deal with University of Tennessee running backs? Like they get into the NFL and they're great and they don't do squat when they're wearing orange. Anyway, so running back, fourth down, Mosh, before he crosses the plane into the goal line, fumbles the football and recovers his own football in the end zone for a touchdown. And everybody freaks out and goes, you can't advance the ball on a fumble. What's up? How come this was able to? We know what this rule is because we invented it. We invented the holy roller. We know why you can't advance the football on a fumble. Well, Raider Nation, here's what we got. So here's some clarity for you. And I had to look this up because I didn't know it as well. I knew that it was a legal play. Obviously, they wouldn't let it happen if it wasn't. But I didn't understand the verbiage. Well, here it is, just to bring some clarity to it. A fumbled ball may be recovered in advance by either team, all right, after the 2-minute warning in half of of either half or on fourth down when the fumbling player is the only offensive player allowed to advance the ball. Otherwise, the ball is ruled dead at the spot of recovery if the ball bounces backwards, blah, 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 blah. But the point is here is that in American football, after the 2-minute warning in either half or fourth down, when the fumbling player, he can recover. You can recover your own fumble on fourth down. So that's why it was fourth down. He fumbled it, recovered it in the end zone.
So he had it like multiple ways.
Yes.
He was his own he was the one that fumbled it. He recovered his own fumble, and it was fourth down.
And it was fourth down. So he's okay. Yeah. Yep. So he's okay on that. So that's what we got there. So let's
we'll give him that one.
We'll give him that one. So Mosh, next up here on Raiders Fan Radio, we're going to go into the Sea of Fans mailbag and hear from Raider Nation.
There he is, fading, looking. He's under the gun. He's caught. He throws. It is.
Oh, he caught it.
Jeez.
Gosh, we can get loud.
That's loud, man. Who's that cackling idiot on there? You know, this is always the perfect opportunity for me to say that audio, not the play, but the audio of the cackling is when Jonas Cespedes hit a home run at an A's game in the playoffs in Game 2. And so that's a nice time for me to say that the Oakland A's are now, as of yesterday, officially in first place.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah! How about that? There you go. Good stuff. Led by former Nashville Sound Ramon Laureano, your best friend.
Gosh, my best friend.
Yeah, pretty cool. All right, so let's go into the Sea of Fans mailbag. And first up, we're going to hear from our buddy Ken Cruz.
Yo, Raider Murf, Uncle Mosh, Lil Murf. This is Ken, Monster Mash. Wanted to call and recap the game and just give you a shout out. First of all, thanks so much for putting out quality radio. I think you belong on, the ESPN Sports Center. I'd rather listen to you than listen to those guys. On that note, I don't know how you guys watched the game against the Rams, but I got to watch it on NFL Network, and I wasn't too big on Good Morning Football Crew rocking the Rams shirts. I don't have any respect for these guys. I think they lose all credibility. They're week to week on what teams they're riding. If it weren't for Kay Adams, I don't think that show would be anything. All right. As far as the game, Murph, you called it. Chris Warren, C-Dub3, running over people, trucking people. Very excited for this guy. As far as I see it, I think he's got that number 2 position locked up. And Jalen Rocket Richard, oh man, that's my boy. I bought his jersey last year or 2 years ago. I think he's definitely somebody they got to keep around. So as far as I'm looking at it, I think we got Lynch, Warren. We'll see what Doug Martin can do. We haven't seen anything of him. Who knows? And then you keep Richard as the scat back. I'm interested to see what they do with the matchup with Whalen and what's his face, number 15 there. It's going to be a great competitive third game in the preseason to see who's locks it up. The other thing is I'm actually really impressed with Gruden and I guess McVay on the Rams for not playing their starters and leaving it, just a pretty straightforward game. Let's run the ball down their throats. As far as the Raiders go, a little worried about the backup offensive line. A lot of sacks, a lot of sloppy quarterback play, but thank God for Chris Warren just running over people. That leaves up to the imagination of how week 1's going to go. What else do I got for you? I think that's about it. Great show. Last week on Mondays with Mikey and Murph, that segment you did on Khalil Mack. I mean, that honestly was the best radio I've heard in years. I think you hit the nail on the head. Don't let the media drive your opinion. And just do your research. And I was just doing that whole segment with Khalil Mack. People need to hear that, need to not be worried. But it makes a lot of sense just franchise tagging him for the next couple of years and then see what he does when he's 30. But just a great bit of radio. Uncle Mosh, I'll tell you what, the Raiders make, how about this? The Raiders win the AFC West. I'll get you a Lil Uncle Mosh figure to go with Lil Murf, and hopefully that's some good juju for a playoff run for us. Anyway, guys, looking forward to next week. Packers should be a great game. Hopefully, we don't overplay our starters. I don't think we have anything to prove. Why risk injury? And thanks again, guys. You guys are putting out some great radio. Love it. Take care. Bye.
Gosh, we need to get him to do commercials for us.
I know. He's pretty good, huh? He's pretty good. Absolutely. Great job,
Well.
Ken. Thank you for calling into the show. Appreciate all those kind words. It's, thank you. I'll just say that. I'll just say thank you very much. It's good. It's good to hear. We appreciate the feedback. So in terms of a couple things, the Good Morning Football crew was the announcing crew. They were, the NFL, well, not, let me back up. The local teams, so in this case, the Rams, hires a crew to come in and do their announcing for them. So you'll notice that like Jay Crawford will do like Browns games, or like Dan Hellie will do Titans games. And in this case, Andrew Siciliano does Rams games. So for our Raiders, it's Beth Mowens and Matt Millen. And, so they hire different crews. So they just happened to be the Good Morning Football crew. It wasn't necessary. I know, I'm with him. It was kind of weird seeing the Good Morning Football crew repping one team, but that they just got hired as a unit was all to handle the broadcast. So it was kind of funky. But that's what was going on with that. And then he was talking about comparing Griff Whalen to Ryan Switzer, but he forgot Ryan Switzer's name.
Mm-hmm.
So he was just referring to number 15. Well, someone who didn't forget Ryan Switzer is Lil Murf. And apparently, Lil Murf and Ryan Switzer met up in a pickup game this week.
Ryan Switzer? Man, I dunked on that short stack.
I don't know if that's good or not, because when DC dunked on Khalil Mack, Khalil hadn't been on the
He hasn't been back since. Here, let me get Lil Murf up here first. There you go. You ready for your close-up, Mr. Demi? Okay, here we go. Let's see if I can find it. Wait, where is it? Oh, where's this darn thing at? Oh, here it is. Okay, ready?
Ryan Switzer? Man, I dunked on that short stack.
Hey, Little Murf can be terminated. Ryan Switzer's my guy, man. The Incredible Shrinking Man is my guy.
Yeah. I'll put Little Murf on my side of the desk over here.
Yeah, you better.
You hang on here, Little Murf. All right.
Hey, I know I can take him.
Yeah.
And when I hold Ken Monster Mash, when he gets me my Uncle Mosh bobblehead,
because we've won the West.
Because we won the West. Yeah, he might as well start ordering it now. Hey, you know what he did? He did bring up a couple good. It's something that we've talked about Gruden and McVay, and he gave him kudos because he understands.
Yeah.
Neither one was going to show their hand.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yep, that was a great call. All right, good deal. Yeah, so new caller. So thank you for calling, Ken.
Hey, so let me throw this in there too.
Yeah, please.
He brought up about your rant on
Khalil?
Monday on Khalil. For those of you that didn't get a chance to hear it, go back. That's on our website, right?
Yeah, that's on. It's episode number 5 of Mondays with Mikey and Murf.
And it's towards the beginning. It's
towards the beginning.
Like
it's like within the first 20 30 minutes, something like that. Yeah.
And you really did a good job. And I'm not just saying that because you're the boss, but you really did a good job, and you really brought in a lot of perspectives on how that whole situation plays out, and there's a lot of things that we haven't thought about as the casual fan a lot of times, and it really does bring it into perspective on how that works. So I would encourage our listeners to go ahead and if they are maybe a little bit confused on how this whole process works and all that, you represent both sides of it, and it's a pretty good rant.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, well, you just, there's a big picture to be had.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of things to take into account. And frankly, since I, had that discussion and that whatever on that monologue on it last week, Well, now we're learning this stuff about Joel Siegel. You know what I mean? There's again, another piece
another
to the
layer,
puzzle,
man.
right?
It's just, layer. Like Shrek would say, I'm like an onion, man. There's many layers. There's many layers.
That's right.
And speaking of big picture.
Right.
And big.
We have our next caller. We're going to hear from Big Raider Trucker. Definitely made man here on Raiders Fan Radio, and some pretty cool tidbits of info. Not only is our buddy Big Raider Trucker Emiliano, not only is he in the chat room right now, we appreciate him joining us there, but he was at the game.
Yeah, and there's a pic.
And there's a great picture of him and his son out front of the L.A. Coliseum, representing the Raiders and representing our show. Thankful that he was wearing his RFR shirt, man. Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. So very, very cool. So thankful that he's willing to represent. And let's hear from him.
What's going on? The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Big Raider Trucker here, checking in once again. You have to excuse the voice because it's gone. Went down to L.A. yesterday to check out my Raiders versus the Lambs. Didn't go down like we wanted it to. It was a good experience because a couple things happened. Me and my son and my girlfriend, we checked into the game a little bit earlier. We're like, hey, let's go walk down to the side rails by the Raider area, and let's see who we can see. Who did we see himself? Mr. Derek Carr. And it was a beautiful sight. The girlfriend got a picture with him. My son got a picture with him. It was just a beautiful day. Also got the chance to speak to Mr. Paul Gutierrez, and I got the inside scoop on Mack. From what I've heard from him, he said it all starts and ends with Aaron Donald for the Los Angeles Rams. Once he gets his deal done, that's going to be the playing field. The leverage for Mack. He said the area that he's looking is still 22 to 23 million, which is a lot. And let's see how it goes down. But don't fear, we still have the franchise tag for a couple years. So we'll just see how it goes. Once again, just checking in, guys. Hope all is well. Football is back. Can't wait for the regular season to happen. But overall, Raiders look pretty good. I know they didn't yesterday, but from the sideline, seeing Marshawn Lynch and the whole offensive line, there's some big dudes down there. All right, guys. Well, like I said, I got to go. Gotta do something with his voice because it sounds like the Dark Knight. All right, guys. You guys have a good one. Hold on.
He'll be burning up the highways going, breaker, you got the Big Raider Trucker here. How is it up there on I-5?
So, he said that he sounded like the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So, you know what that means, right?
Yeah.
Emiliano, I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of a Batman junkie. I love Batman. And I'm a fan of a lot of things, Mosh, and Batman's one of them. So because he sounded like the Dark Knight, I put this together.
I'm Batman. Time to move in. What? Don't let me find you out here again. I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you. Him again. Who are the others? Can you drive stick? I'm sorry, Harvey. Where's Dent? I want the Joker. I'm considering it. Drop the gun. Someone like you. What? If I get him to you, can you get him to talk? Storm's coming. I'm counting on it. You'll be in a padded cell forever. Beautiful. This is just the beginning. Where were the other drugs going? Where are they? Where are they? He must have friends. Let her go. I have one rule. What? Swear to me. Where are they? Someone knows where he is. It ends here. It's not that simple. With a Joker, it never is. You'd leave a man's life to chance. What? You wanted me. Here I am. Because you were the best of us. What? I need 5 minutes alone. Do I look like a cop? Where's the detonator? What? No. But I know how you got me. You're garbage. You kills for money. Taste of your own medicine, doctor. What? What did you do? One man or the entire mob? What? He can wait. I'll look into it. I've got to find this man, Lucius. You're the one pointing the gun, Harvey. What? Nice. There won't be any fireworks. What? And you'll never have to. Whatever Gotham needs me to be. What? Check the names. What? You're the symbol of hope I can never be. What? You don't want to hurt the boy, Harvey. The city. What? Just showed you. What? But what I do. What? That it's full of people. What? Ready to believe in good. What?
Oh my my gosh.
You are so stupid.
Oh, my gosh. I'm dying over here.
Emiliano's going to be, he's going to start pulling some of those lines, right? The next football game, he's like, where was the defense? What?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Any license to share some Batman stuff.
Oh my God. What was that, 47 minutes of your favorite Batman lines?
Oh, my gosh. Emiliano, that was a great call, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail it entirely with my Batman compilation. Oh, man.
The worst part is you had already had that made.
I just modified one of them, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. You're going to start a Batman podcast.
Oh my
no.
God. Don't give me any ideas. All right.
sorry.
So, but hey, let's talk a little bit about what he seriously what he did mention in the call. He met up with Paul Gutierrez.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that was really cool.
So cool.
Obviously, the stuff with Derek Carr was cool too. But hearing it from Paul G that the Aaron Donald situation is what's going to drive this thing, and once it gets locked up, we can expect to see Mack come right after. What do you think, Mosh?
Yeah, I agree. You know, we've always said that from the beginning. It's not just the fact that we can't get him on the field. There's so many other things that are driving this. And it's going to happen. Crazy. All right, let's move on.
We are Metallica, and we are here for your Oakland.
What are you doing?
Hit the wrong button.
We are Metallica, and
Here
we
we go.
are here for your Oakland Raiders.
We'll fix that in post.
Wait, we got to let it play.
We are Metallica,
Don't touch no
and we
more.
are here
Let it go.
for your
Shut up.
Oakland Raiders. You know why we're out here, and we ain't playing around today.
From The Walking Dead to errant Jedi Knights, Raiders fans are a rogues gallery.
All right, Uncle Mosh, next up here on
that was my bad.
Three times.
Well, here's the problem is that I got.
Hold on, let me get your single shot here. Okay, go ahead. Tell Raider Nation what the problem is.
I got sausages for fingers. You should see me try and text. It's ugly. And I pushed the button, and I just kind of had my thumb resting there, and maybe I give off too much heat.
Might be. It might be. It was all that laughing from the Batman, from the 9-minute Batman clip.
My word. I apologize for that,
that's
Raider
okay.
Nation.
No, you did good. You're a heck of a producer, Mosh. This is a new role for you.
It's a new role.
We're trying to diversify the responsibilities of the show because I get so locked up into doing everything. So we're trying to diversify a little bit so I can do more stuff like pay attention to the chat and the camera.
And sometimes I have to remind him.
Well, there you go. All right, so next up here on Raiders Fan Radio, we're going to wrap up the Return to Excellence. As I mentioned at the top of the show, this is the audio documentary of the Raiders 2000 season. I know we got a few in there that we missed, but I just want to put a bow on this thing. We've had a lot of people, and the reason why is we've had a lot of people ask about it, what happened to it. And I've been saying this for weeks too. I promise I will get these things uploaded. It's just kind of labor intensive to put them together in a way to where YouTube will accept it and won't yell at me for copyright stuff. So it takes a little bit, but I will get them all uploaded individually so you all can go back there and check them out. And but until then, we're going to just hit the last one. This is the wrap up. So basically, this is the wrap up of the 2000 season after the Raiders, of course, lost to the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC Championship when big old Tony Siragusa landed on Rich Gannon.
The Raiders were hosting the AFC Championship game. But in the end, this AFC title game had belonged to Baltimore with their ravenous defense. Considered by many to be the greatest in NFL history, the Raiders could never get in the end zone and were beaten by the Ravens 16-3. However disappointing this loss may have been to the Raiders and their fans, the 2000 season was a big leap forward. It was a season that propelled the Raiders back into the upper echelon of the NFL and gave the organization and their fans hope for a 2001 season that would fulfill their dreams of a Super Bowl championship. Critics of the team of the decades have said that the Raiders' mystique is dead, that the silver and black no longer strikes fear in the heart of their opponents. But after a regular season in which the Raiders won 12 of 16 games, even the harshest detractors had to give Oakland a measure of respect. the Raiders captured the NFL's rushing title and produced a legitimate most valuable player candidate in quarterback Rich Gannon. The defense played an important role as well, knocking 11 opponent quarterbacks out of games. In 2000, the Raiders returned to the upper echelon of the NFL's elite teams and start the 2001 year looking to prove that their return to excellence will be more than just a short stay. The Raiders have a solid group of returning veterans and new faces that could take the Raiders over the top. Trace Armstrong joins the Raiders after 6 years with Miami, and he's looking forward to being a member of the Silver and Black.
I'm thrilled they thought enough of me to bring me in. Oakland was at the top of my list, far and away. I feel like we're a team that's can be a Super Bowl team, and I think we have all the ingredients that you need to have a dominant pass rush. There's no reason why the Raider defense can't be one of the dominant defenses in the league. When you drive up to the Raiders Stadium and you see all the fans decked out in black, I can tell you there's not a guy that ever played football that didn't think about at least one time wearing silver and black and being a part of the Raiders organization. The mystique is still there. The tradition is still there.
Then the Raiders dropped a bomb by signing the heart of the 49ers, Jerry Rice. The Hall of Famer to be joins 8-time Pro Bowler Tim Brown, speedster James Jett, and a group of talented young wide receivers to make up a formidable air attack. Rice is looking to have a great year with the Raiders, and he loves the way he looks in silver and black.
Putting on that uniform, and I stood there and I looked at myself, and I said, you know what? I look good in this. And all the guys, they started laughing at me. They said, yeah, you look all right in silver and black. So, I'm excited to be on board. This is like a dream come true, not only for me, but for my family, and I'm just excited.
With the collection of talent and experience that John Gruden has to work with, the Raiders will have the opportunity to field one of the best overall rosters in the league. Recently, I sat down with John, and I asked him about the prospects for the 2001 year.
John Gruden, raise your right hand, put your left hand on the Bible. The autumn wind is a Raider.
The autumn wind is a Raider. I love
Pillaging
that.
just for fun. How has training camp gone for you in year 4 up here?
I think we've got a lot of work done. We have been very injury-free for the most part, which has been probably the best thing that's happened here. We haven't had a lot of guys miss practice. The effort has been good, and it's been very competitive.
If you had to pick out one guy, I know when I look at the camp, your rookies really have played well, surprisingly well. Just about every guy's had a pretty good camp. But if you had to pick out one guy who has surprised you with just how well he's played here in Napa, who would it be?
That's a tough call. Chris Cooper, a young defensive tackle, has played very well on a daily basis. I really think Mondrell Fulcher is a guy that is as improved as any player on this football team. There's so many guys, it's hard to really recognize one, but those two guys in particular have really stepped up here in the last couple weeks.
As you look at the team overall, John, this stage compared to last year at this stage, you've obviously brought in some key veteran players. You went pretty far last year, but you have to like your football team this year a little better, don't you?
Yeah, in some ways I do. We lost some good players from a year ago also, and we're going to be optimistic. We feel like we've improved to a degree. We think our scheme is a little bit better. We have rejuvenated some of our guys physically from off-season surgeries. So, yeah, we're optimistic. We think we're a little bit better, but we got to prove that. These guys have practiced hard. They've come together from a unity standpoint. They're excited about that, I think. Jerry Rice is a proven player. He's a guy that is really doing some great things on our practice field. He made a couple down-the-field catches today. That's the thing that I think has most surprised me is the burst that he still possesses down the field. He still has done some very good things up the field after the catch. He's a very physical blocker. He's going to always be nicked up because of the nature of the way he plays, but he's ready to roll.
The road to the Super Bowl will be a long and hard one this year, with a schedule that features brutal matchups with their AFC West foes and key games with the Jets, Dolphins, Colts, Eagles, Giants, and Titans. But if 2000 was the year that the Raiders put themselves back on the map, then the year 2001 very well could be the year the Raiders find themselves with the map of New Orleans in their hands and looking for that elusive Lombardi trophy. I'm Greg Papa. Thank you for joining us for a review of the Raiders' remarkable 2000 season, and enjoy the 2001 year as the defending AFC West champions make their run at the Super Bowl.
There you go, Mosh. Wrapped it up. The year mumbles. The year 2000 season. How about that?
I'm blown away by Coach. Change a name or two. That could his interview could have been last week.
Yeah.
Change a name or two.
Yeah.
And definitely get rid of Rice, but that, but that could have been last week, man.
It could have been last week. It's really cool. His demeanor hasn't changed.
Not a lick.
He hasn't changed. And, it's funny. We heard from a couple names in there. Trace Armstrong, who proceeded to blow out his Achilles and had like a half a sack on the year.
Yeah.
Like that was of course, he came back and did a little something with the Raiders, but certainly Trace Armstrong, Mondrell Fulcher, and Chris Cooper. Remember he wore 75. Everybody was calling him Baby Howie back then.
Baby Howie, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. But but very interesting walk down memory lane there with the year 2000 Raiders. So again, we'll have that up on our YouTube page. It's under Murf's Fan Cave. So if you look on YouTube, well, I know you guys on YouTube are watching this right now on the same thing, so you know already. But for those of you on the podcast, you can check out our YouTube feed is Murf's Fan Cave, and all of our shows are there. You can find Mondays with Mikey and Murf, the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz. You can find our show plus the live feed of Raiders Fan Radio, all there on YouTube, and then also these clips from the return to excellence from the Raiders 2000 season. So a lot of fun, man, to go down there and revisit, and especially now with the especially now with the news of Greg Papa departing and moving on to the Niners. Like, it's just kind of like, lots of simple lines intertwining.
Yes,
Uncle Mosh,
it's all,
you know what I mean?
it's all intertwined.
It's all intertwining. All right, well, Mosh, that is all we got for the show, except for our interview this week with Pastor Mondo Leone. So for those of you on the YouTube feed, you won't hear it. You'll just have a brief period of silence, and then Uncle Mosh and I will come back and kind of talk about Pastor Mondo. But for those of you on the podcast, here is our interview with Pastor of the Raider Nation, Pastor Mondo Leone. All right, Uncle Mosh, there's our interview with Pastor Mondo. Man, he's awesome.
He's so good. He's so good. He's so funny, and he's just uplifting. He's got a great spirit about him. I mean, I really dig him. He's a great guy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a unique calling, and I love it when you really hear in people when they find their passion, they find their direction, they lock into it, and they pursue it, and fruit bears from it, like,
yeah,
right, like, you know what I mean, like it's very cool. And and as a a couple of men of faith like we are, it's cool to hear that story intertwined with Raider fandom and how that translates, and it's just it's cool stuff, man. It's great. I hope that those of you that listen to it, got a lot out of it, got as much out of it as we did. And if you're, want to talk about any of it, or you're interested in, hit us up, man. You know how to get a hold of us. You know how to get a hold of me and Uncle Mosh. And so we're always here and love to hear your story and what your faith story is and what your journey is. So definitely don't hesitate to share those back with us.
No way.
And hope you enjoyed the interview there with Pastor Mondo. All right, Uncle Mosh, I think that's all we got. Marathon show this week.
And we didn't plan it that way.
No, sometimes
Did we mess up. What happened? Did we have to redo stuff?
No, you just what happens is that you get this you get these concise storylines, and you get your schedule planned out there. But we love the Raiders, man. So you end up talking about them a whole bunch.
I can't imagine any better way to spend a Sunday afternoon when there wasn't a football game.
I know, right? Yeah.
We 2 weeks in a row. We got to mention. 2 weeks in a row, what did we do for the last 5 minutes before that we went on the air? We watched golf.
Oh, my gosh. See, now don't derail us. We'll be here for 2 hours.
All right, we'll talk about Sneds.
We'll be like the extended version of Lord of the Rings over here. You know what I mean?
Well, at least we're not having to do a commercial for you and Big Raider Truckers Batman show.
Hey, man, that was fun. That was fun. But anyways, thank you for joining us here for another episode of Raiders Fan Radio. We're going to probably do another Sunday or two before we move to Wednesday shows. So I think the schedule is going to look like Raiders Fan Radio will drop late on Wednesday. Mondays with Mikey and Murf will drop late on Monday. And then the Fan Club Blitz will drop on Fridays. So I think that's going to kind of be our release schedule here on Murph's Fan Cave for the 3 shows. So hope you all are enjoying the other shows on the network. The response and the feedback has been positive.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
far.
We're having as much fun doing this as you all are listening to it, and that's what it's all about, man.
Absolutely.
We're having a good time.
Absolutely. You know, I mean, Uncle Mosh and I would be doing this anyway, so we just flip on microphones instead of doing it over the phone. We sit next to each other and do it.
Exactly, and we don't have to make our family listen to us.
Yeah, absolutely. So good stuff. So anyway, so look forward to getting the season underway. Next up, we got the Packers. And week 3 is the game that everybody says that, and historically has shown that's the one. Like, that's the test. That's the most that replicates what it's like in the regular season. Right. So Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson getting back together, getting reacquainted, and in different uniforms. Some pretty cool stuff there.
It'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, definitely. And, and one of the 2 of us has a man crush on Aaron Rodgers.
And it's not me.
And so, Aaron Rodgers, a Bay Area guy, wears number 12. He's a stud, man. Don't get me wrong, Raider Nation. I love Derek Carr. But, hey, man, Aaron Rodgers –
but you can't deny the talent.
Oh, my gosh, it's amazing. If you like watching football and you like watching the quarterback position get played, that's the guy. That's the guy. I mean, there's nobody that plays the position better than Aaron Rodgers right now, so it will definitely be fun to watch that game. And, of course, I hope the Raiders beat the snot out of him.
Absolutely.
But it will be fun to watch nonetheless. So hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on Instagram. All those are Raiders Fan Radio. You can find our website is murphsfancave.com. We also have raidersfanradio.com. That's where you can buy T-shirts. We still have some of the old logo T-shirts left. I say that every week, but I promise you I don't think we have barely any left at all.
Nah, just a handful
at this point. So do that. And then please like and subscribe. That's the best way you could support our show. Like our fan page, our listener fan page, but especially like on iTunes. Any podcast service that you subscribe to or that you follow, please subscribe to our show, rate and review our show. That's the best way to support us for everything that we do. Yep. And the more you do that, it just enables us to kind of keep all this stuff coming. I'll see you week 1. For those of you that are going to the game, I'll be there. Mosh, I bought my tickets this week. I'm going to go to the D lot.
Okay.
I'm going to be partying in the D lot with Raider Nation before the game, and I'm going to sit in the black hole. So I'm checking off one of the things off the bucket list. I got tickets to the black hole, so I think we're in 105 if I remember right. So I'll be down there with Raider Nation, man, the black hole. So look for me on TV. I'll be the guy wearing the Murph's Fan Cave shirt.
Yeah, and so odds are we'll have some live video or audio to play from the game when you come back.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know a lot of our listeners, or at least a few already that I've spoken to that are going to be at the game, including Big Raider Trucker.
Nice.
And so we're going to link up with some folks down there. Also the guys from the Pillaging Podcast that I was on last week on their latest show, sat in for a guest spot with them. Great guys, Kenny and Che. Mosh, I don't listen to a lot of Raiders podcasts, and that's not taking a shot at any of the other shows.
We don't have time.
I don't have time, and I don't want to. I don't ever want someone else's opinions to kind of form my own opinion. I want to be able to come to this show fresh. I want to be able to offer up, a fresh insight and not someone else's insight. So I don't listen to a lot of other Raider shows, but when I do, that's the one that I go to typically is the Pillaging Podcast. So thankful to those guys. We're going to link up with them. So yeah, hopefully we'll come back with a lot of fun audio and a lot of great stories about week 1. And first and foremost, hopefully a big fat W for the Raiders and John Gruden. All right. I think that's it. I think I'm finally done. I'm out
Thank goodness, man. You used all your words.
I'm going to use up all my words. So finish off, Mosh. Close us out with one of your famous taglines.
Raiders Fan Radio, changing the airwaves where we pillage just for fun.
I kind of stole it from those guys, but that's okay.
Yeah, I did.